Sorry.
Oh.
Hey, my phone, my phone.
Oh, wait.
Let's leave.
Sending. Yeah, this is probably working a bit better. I think. Oh shit. Can't switch. There's someone that has got the internet that can poke. It's not here. Hello, internet. Sorry, I've left everything strewn around everywhere.
I don't even worry about it.
That seems to work, I think. Maybe. He's not complaining at me, so. And I still have beer left. It's amazing.
You're going to do it over there so you're in focus? Or?
But yeah, well, Mike will be over there.
Okay. Yeah, mostly. Except for yeah, that's better.
What's wrong with that?
Maybe.
You really don't go very far
Can people see?
before focus comes
I
out.
don't know. Can I get you this confirmed locally? I'll send you the link. What's this? Anyway,
Something like in one.
yeah, it should be able to. How's it?
Which to the colors.
What does this button do? Okay. Okay. YOU dot YOUTU dot BE /0 capital J capital L 9 FTW dash lowercase z uppercase L lowercase c. Yeah, see what happens. I'm sure it'll be fine.
So, what URL was that?
It's YouTube live streaming.
Okay.
We'll see if it works.
Video unavailable.
What? Okay. So I can share it via Jitsi with Michael.
All right.
So did I get the URL wrong or you just
I don't know.
Just put in the chat. No.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll use Jitsi just to
Yeah.
share a link.
You see that?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's a great photo. That's clear.
So that was 0, uppercase G, uppercase L, 9,
J. Sorry. J.
J. Okay, so that's that one.
All right. Well, I think that's probably the best we're going to do. We have tried. YouTube.
Oh. Some progress. MLUG.
Where's the mic on this?
URL. Waiting for delaying the click. Delay.
Yeah.
That looks like your HDMI box. Doing that. There you go. It's working. Did you want the URL?
So, oh, I don't have anything to open it on.
It's here. Figure out. Okay.
So it seems like it'll probably work.
Mucking about. Do you want to shut this off so we're not wasting too much bandwidth?
You can hear me changing the aperture.
We can also hear the microphone feedback loops. On your computers, because then it'll kill the bandwidth of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for
We'll turn it
testing,
off in a minute.
a trivial test to make sure it actually works somewhere before I send it out to the list.
Oh, I can get it out. Get it out there.
Yeah. Lord knows when I had it set on last time.
Type of light. Yellow light.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. I
Do you
will.
want me to put that link on my list?
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. You gonna go first with talking?
I can. Or do you want to talk about how awesome Jitsi is?
a big strike through the Jitsi page. This doesn't work. Right. Yeah, if I can. I trust you enough to use my KeyPass database.
Okay.
If I can get a tab. Do you have XChat installed?
I can then.
XChat and Firefox, I think is what I need.
XChat 2.
I install like XChat.
Oh, HexChat, yeah.
XChat?
HEX. Yeah. That's actually what I could install, but force of habit. And I'll just. Yeah, well, we got feedback, so something's coming through. Okay. 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 That's brightness. Hello, internet.
Internet's not very fast.
Oh, it's it. Michael, can you say something?
Testing. This is MLUG. We've had a few fails. We're pushing on anyway.
Wait, again?
Yeah. We're streaming you on YouTube Live.
Okay. That looks like it'll work.
Okay, great. Have chat on there as well before.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Are you talking on it?
He said there's not much, nothing happening for the last 3 minutes. So I'd had it turned off the camera.
Oh, yeah. But it's on now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I think this one's broken.
So you.
Oh, it's got a spare. Let's go low quality.
It's 1080i. It's working currently, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, I said, "How's this?" and your dad hasn't responded. So maybe it's not amazing.
We're doing like picture in picture and stuff with the screen.
Oh, that'd be great, and maybe next time.
You're just trying to get a straight working.
Yeah. All good again, video and audio. Awesome. So he can see you now.
Okay.
That's working.
Just 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Give him 5 minutes, because we did say on the list that usually we start at 7:30
Yeah, we do.
these days.
Mm. Did anybody bring a USB that they wanted configured? I mean, you did, and a free PSD bloody image. that's gonna be tricky.
Oh, I'm interested in the process. I mean,
Okay.
Once I know the process, that'll be interesting. Fine by me. Before we actually.
Proxy.
Yeah. What about the build DHCP? How does that know how to do it?
Because it's not listening to those options.
Oh,
There's certain options that you can add to your DHCP server to listen to Pixie requests.
all right.
Yeah.
So it's not listening for them. It's
No.
for them.
By default, it's not listening to them.
Oh, okay.
And then if you've got a proxy DHCP server somewhere on the network, it only listens to those little options. Yeah. How are we going, Tony? Is
Just
there 2 people on there?
there's Keith and Gaz,
Yep.
I believe. I'm just waiting to confirm that they can hear
Okay.
and see.
Ooh, that sounds good. So you don't need an SD card in the Apple.
Only to put the option on once,
Yeah.
and then you take it out. That's it. You never need to put it in again. So as soon as you put the little option, which is the USB boot option, it also is telling the Raspberry Pi that you want Pixie Boot, and that puts that setting into the EEPROM, and then there it goes. You never need to worry about putting a media in there again.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's for the
Raspberry
Pi
B, 3B plus.
3B. Is it for other ones as well?
No, just that one.
Just-
Yeah, and it's got to be on the cable. Can't do it on Wi-Fi.
Amanda says hello.
Hello.
I haven't actually got confirmation from someone yet.
That they can hear me.
well,
Can anybody hear me? Yes. Good.
Yeah.
Shall I
Right.
start? Yes.
So Michael's here to talk about USB multi-boot, and then we'll talk about how amazing video conferencing is with Jitsi. Here we go, Michael.
Because we're streaming on YouTube, I think you know how that's going to end. All right. Okay, yeah, I'm here to talk about multi-boot. So I had a problem where my new notebook doesn't have an optical drive, and optical media is dead anyway to me. So I wanted to boot from USB. And so I started putting images onto USB drives for things such as System Rescue CD and Kaylee and a few other distros. And then before I knew it, I had 10 USBs at work and 10 at home and 10 for my colleague. And, we were just flooded in USBs. And I thought, well, it's got to be a bit better way of doing this. Plus, I wanted a little bit of a data partition and an encrypted data partition. So I don't actually have a slide on the software that I was looking at last month, but if you look at last month's slides, I evaluated about 10 different software packages that did this sort of thing, and none of them did it well. And just by chance, the latest Linux format magazine, issue 246, a guy called John Lane wrote an article on how to create a multi-boot USB just by using a bash script. And I downloaded that and started modifying his script to sort of better suit my needs. That's where I began. So I haven't modified it that much, and it's a really interesting article if you get your hands on it. It's really well written. So then, this is sort of the use cases I wanted to cover with a multi-boot USB device. Mainly some diagnostic tools like System Rescue CD, some security pen testing tools, Kaylee, fixing grub, super grub or Resca Tux, and privacy using Debian Tails, or installation for friends and family using Debian or MX Linux for 32-bit older machines, or Linux Mint for sort of a beginner's distro. So that's why I want them all on there. And yeah, I mean, pros are you don't have to carry a heap of USBs or CDs. It's all on the one. It's easy to upgrade as well. In the end, after you run this script, they're just ISO files. So if a new version of your distro comes along, you just copy it into the boot partition, change the little grub, and rerun the script to write the new grub menus. Say menus because there's two grub install commands I'll get to later. Cons, well, it's not point and click, it is a script, so yeah, and you do have to edit the grub config files. So you do have to know a little bit about it, but it is the most flexible way of doing this. And I've got a few little templates in there. In the wrong device, you can overwrite the system and, you know, it'll format it. So that's beautiful. So just use it with caution. How does it work? Okay. So first off, it goes through and calculates all the sizes of the partitions. Some partitions, like the EFI or the GPT sort of little partition, has to be a certain size and in a certain location, so your EFI will boot correctly. Other partitions, like the data and the encryption partitions, they're just tagged on the end, and it just uses the remainder divided in half for both of those. They're just auxiliary. You don't have to have them. They're just a nice addition to put the system's information when you're using these like this. Yeah, so this is the layout of the partitions. You have 1 megabyte for your BIOS boot, 50 megabytes for your EFI, and then this is on a 16 gig flash drive. You've got 6 gig for your boot partition, which is where your ISO images go. And then, yeah, you've got your data and your encrypted partition, which can be any site. That's just the remainder, right? So it formats it and encrypts it, just using the standard MakeFS tool, and quick setup with Luke's format to encrypt it. I don't know what bitrate or, you know, encryption it uses, just standard, you know. Then it just copies using rsync to the boot partition, and I use this just in case you need to restart it, and it'll just pick up where it left off. And then it installs Grub twice. So first it installs it for legacy boot systems, and the second time it puts it on there for UEFI system. So it's a hybrid boot system. I'll go into length about these commands a bit later. Right. And then at the end, I wanted to test it without rebooting, so I use QEMU for that. Okay, so that's a quick introduction of what it does. We'll delve a bit deeper into the commands, as I said, but another part of doing this, you have to know how to configure Grub a little bit. And that was okay because I wanted to learn a bit more about Grub, because at home I had forked my system and I couldn't boot it, which is still happening at the moment. But I can boot it using SuperGrub off this multi-boot USB, so it's up. Yes, so the Grub config, it took some time to find exactly the menu options and everything and how to put it in for each particular distro. But there was similarities between Debian systems or Red Hat systems. And you start to sort of understand the template and put it together pretty fast by the end of it. Initially, you have to load the video driver and the font. And then you have to set up the boot path variable just so that it knows where to get the ISO images. And then this is a typical Debian-based config. What you have here is a menu entry with the title that comes up in the Grub menu. You're just setting the loopback device so that it knows how to get inside the ISO there. And then you're telling it where to boot from for the init-rd and the Linux kernel, with some options on the end. And those options on the end change per distro. And that's what you've got to sort of find out, what options it wants on the end. Yeah, this is similar for Kali, Linux Mint, Vesta Tux, Clonezilla, NX, Linux and Tails. because they're all based on Debian. The Gen 2 one is the easiest.
Huzzah.
Yeah, that is crazy, isn't it? It doesn't take any options really, just the ISO loop, and yeah, it is the easiest one. And it worked first time, that one, so it's something for you, Danny. And the Arch one is the most complex, with its own particular little bits on the end. It's so long, it goes off the screen here, so that'll be in the slide, so you can have a look at that later. But it's got Arch ISO device and special sort of options particular to that distro. Quite annoying. But I'm sure there's an easier way to do all this. I'm quite new to it, but anyway, there's a few gotchas here. In the magazine, he was talking about System Rescue CD version 4. Back then it used Gen 2, which is great. So I ended up putting that on there as well. And I ended up actually downloading the exact versions that was in his example, just to get it working. And then I put the latest ones on, and I found that System Rescue CD in the last month or two have changed to Arch. So that was, and it's a completely different setup in your grub config, and yeah, that was a pain. Kaylee used to be Backtrack, and it used to be based on Novix, but now it's based on Debian testing. So I used to use it when it was Backtrack, so I was expecting to set it up for sort of a Novix build in the grub, but it ended up being much easier, and I could just use the Debian template. SuperGrub is actually an entry. It doesn't actually have an operating system as such. It's just grub menus all the way down. So I had to link it to their grub menus, which link to multiple nested grub menus. Really quite beautiful. And finding the boot line options are hard. I find there's probably a special command I'm just missing. But anyway, commands used.
If you've got a running system, you can see it, it'll be in the log.
There you go. Oh, you can show me later. All right. Good. I'll need to know that. So here's all the commands I used. This is SG disk. So this just gets rid of all the partitions on your drive straight away. So yeah, if you type in the wrong device with the script, it's see you later. Although you can sometimes undo that, but just make sure you put the right device in. There's no warranty yet, all that sort of stuff. But, so that gets rid of everything, and then I use the bash read command with a funny little hack to give me a carriage return, but it's just so I can have like a neat little line for a prompt, and that just prompts the user for a yes or a no. Yeah, I actually just allow one character, so I didn't have to hit return, but that's even more dangerous. So yeah, watch out. Make temp. This just makes a temporary directory, which is pretty handy for just mounting a point, and then after the script's run, it'll just remove that temp area for you. And this is used quite a lot. And this one here, the SG disk, very long command, but that sets up all the little partitions, and you can give each one a name, and each one you have to tell what type of system you want on there. And it's done in a hex code, I suppose, for simplicity and readability. I don't know. You can look them all up. There's heaps of them, but one of them is for a FAT file system, which is used so that you can read it on any machine. Another one is extension 4, that's used for the boot area. So that's a Linux file system. And then there's another one called the EFI type, and that's obviously for the second partition, which is the EFI boot. Then you have, the guy said in the article that SG disk didn't do hybrid MBR, but there is an option in SG disk for hybrid NVR, but I stuck with it and used GDisk like he says. But because the GDisk doesn't have any command line options, you actually have to drive it through a menu. So it makes your script look really messy because you have to send individual keys to drive the menu. But it works. And this is sort of what sets up a hybrid boot system on your USB. So you can boot EFI and legacy. Right. Yeah. That make file system that was used a bit just to format. And then E2 label will label your Linux file system. And that is actually important because the script will look for that label to install, to mount it, and then put grub on it. It's also referenced in the grub config file to look as a label instead of a device, so that you can just put it into any computer. And then DOSFS is just the same thing to label a DOS partition. Encrypt setup that just encrypts that encrypted partition, and also I use it to open that encrypted partition so that I can format it and then close it again, or write some files and then close it. And then rsync program with some of my favorite options, minus PAV. I remember it by Pavlova, but yeah. Shows the progress and also it resumes. Now come to the two grub commands. Yeah, so the first one is a legacy grub, and it will install into the boot partition in boot directory. And then the second one, the UEFI, it's got a few, it goes into the EFI partition. So they're on separate partitions, but the EFI partitions, what UEFI boot systems look for. They look for that in the exact location. So that's sort of the trickery, how it does it. If you're booting UEFI, it'll look for partition 2 in your EFI format, and then it'll boot it. If that doesn't exist, or if you're on an old system, it'll use the first one, the legacy bit. And then QEMU to test the USB without rebooting the system all the time. And I found a few little things, the tricks here. You have to set the VGA to Cirrus so that it works on every system. Otherwise, some of them don't actually show anything, and that's a bit disappointing. Now, it's not the fastest video driver, like you wouldn't want to play 4K resolution or anything on it. But just remember that this is just a test. If it boots, and you can get to a GUI and move things around and go, yay, that's done, and then close it.
Good enough to confirm that
Yeah.
it actually works.
That's all we're doing here. And the machine acceleration, if you don't have that on, you'll be waiting like 10 minutes for anything to boot. It's really slow, so put that on. And the memory, default memory, is 128 megabytes. So yeah, you want more than that. So just bump that up to 2 gig at least, right? And then you have to say HDB device, so the second hard drive, set that as the USB device, right? And then it will boot from there without you rebooting in a little window. And I'll demonstrate this pretty soon. This is how you run the script. Sudo bash write USB, and then /dev/ the USB device name, right? Okay. Improvements. I like to expand all the options in my config so that they're the longer type instead of using -A or --" archive. Just makes it more readable for everybody. I haven't done that yet. I don't want to break anything before the talk. And I was going to test the SG disk for hybrid MBR, even though they said that couldn't be done. It could like break things, but I just want to test that. And just make it a little bit easier and safer to use. It's not exactly safe at the moment, but it works. Maybe split it up into modules. Maybe not write in bash. I don't know. See how we go. It's doing the job. Yeah, that's the references. Was that article that piqued my interest in this whole thing and gave me a solution. So that's really good. Yeah, hold on. Before questions, I will keep a live demo. Live demo tonight. You see, I've cheated. I've already done it, so that's okay. So that's the command. I'll just make it a bit bigger so everybody can enjoy it. Right. See that, Danny? No?
I think it's all a little fuzzy.
It's all a bit blurred, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty much sudo bash write USB and then the USB device name. And then it asks you to create these partitions. Usually I would say yes, but I'm going to just say no because I've done it already. Copy the ISOs, that takes a long time. So I'm just going to say no because I've done that one already too. Create the grub. Well, we can do that. That doesn't take too long. So I say yes. And it installs the legacy system first. And then it installs the EFI platform there. And that's done, so that's about how long that takes. And then you hit yes to test. And it pops up a little grub menu, which you can select which one you want to boot. And I've only put one on this particular USB, but they're all listed there. And then I hit enter on the System Rescue Setting 6, which is the Arch distro version. It takes a little bit of time. And it starts booting. It starts with the screen. And you're at a command line, and you can even go into the GUI in here, type start X, and we've got a GUI that's booted off the USB that we just built. Okay, and yeah, then I can shut it down from here, just like normal. And then it just goes back to your prompt. So that's a nice, easy way to test. And you can see that I can just say no, 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 and yes on the last one to go through and run the test again. So that I can just jump to that last screen. I can go no, 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 yes. And then it's just back into the grub menu. That's why I was using single character things. So just no, 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 yes. Lazy, yeah, okay. Any questions? Yeah. I know you like single characters. Any questions?
How many operating systems do you think you could do?
Oh, right. Well, I've got quite a few on there already. So I have 9 on there at the moment. But I don't see a limit. There's probably a limit of how many grub you can show in its menu. I think that would be the hard limit, and how big your USB drive is, because some distros are quite big, others are very small. Like Super Grub is 20 megabytes, but because it's just grub. But when you're talking about Linux Mint, it's 4 gig. So
Right. So probably space constrained on the drive more than.
could be space, yeah, constraint or the upper limits of the grub menu.
Yeah. Neat.
I haven't tested it with FreeBSD like you wanted to do, or running Windows or anything like that. Just Linux. The oddball was the Super Grub being nested grub menus.
I'll try to.
Does Windows work at all with grub?
I don't know.
Have you tried it?
No, I haven't tried it. I think it would just hand off to the NVR.
Okay.
I think that's how it would work. You'll write the NVR to that partition that's got Windows on it, which I think on some Windows it has to be the very first partition, and then grub will just throw it over there to it, and there it would just sort itself out. But that's the easiest way to do it. I don't know about FreeBSD. Yeah, I'll just show you quickly the grub config. This is the grub config. That's the Gen 2 base. I sort of split it up so that I've got Gen 2 Arch base, and then a bunch of base and Debian base.
How big is the rescue? Was rescue Windows?
Rescue CD is 600 megabytes. It's very handy.
Yeah.
You used it before?
Long time ago, I
Yeah.
used Knoppix to fix a few things.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I find System Rescue CD even better because it goes straight to a command line, which is what you need most of the time, and it boots on more devices than notebooks. It's very light and uses XFCE, so it's got all the tools I need.
Somewhat ironically, I use that to install Gentoo.
Yeah.
Like Gentoo, the Gentoo DVD can't boot, can't do UEFI,
Oh, right.
so I have to use Arch to install Gentoo.
Wow.
Gary says, brilliant demo. Yeah. People seem to be saying thumbs up.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Michael. Now we will have a brief intermission while we move the video around and get my passwords onto Michael's device.
Clonezilla can't be too big either. That must be quite small.
Hey?
Clonezilla must be fairly small.
Clonezilla, yeah, I think it's pretty small.
Like, Dimension's probably the biggest one.
Yeah. There's the sizes. So yeah, you got MID's 1.8 gig. It's Kaylee, it's 3.1 gig.
Oh, wow.
Debian Live, which is it is the installation, but they also make a live edition now that you can just boot. Yeah, so it's good, like everybody. Clonezilla is pretty handy, and it's only 260 megabytes.
Yeah.
MX Linux, I used that the other day to build an old machine up for a neighbour. It's 32-bit, runs really fast on a computer. So the computer only had
Is there a lot of
1.5 gig of RAM.
software still being written for 32 bit?
I used to have a bit, yeah, but I mean, there's still a few distros that are specialising in it, like the MX Linux one. It's based on Debian testing, so volume release should be alright. Yeah, see, the new version of System Rescue CD is 870 megabytes.
If you look at /proc on your system, and cat CMD line, you'll see what the boot options are.
Options for that.
Says-
/proc no, just proc /CMD line, CMD tab.
Oh,
There you go.
that's handy.
Very handy.
It's almost got real in there.
That's really handy. So I just need to do that.
On a working system, yeah, and you know what you put in.
That's just the net RD.
Well, that's it, RD equals that, and it's
That
also
doesn't include the Linux line.
root equals that. Those are the command. Those are the
Option.
options given to the image.
The Linux kernel.
It tells it where the root is.
Yeah.
Tells it to load the root read only.
Yeah.
Tells quiet where the quiet is, low levels, and all that kind of
So I would put that on the end of this Linux line, and then I'll just
Well, you have it instead of that, I think. Whatever as well as that, I'm not sure.
each one's got like Linux and NetRD. But so I'll put this script up on my GitHub, and you can download it and use it. Yeah, there we go. The original one didn't have any prompts or anything in it. It just did it. But I found that I wanted to just do certain parts of the script a few times. Like I might just want to go back and copy the ISOs over. Or I would have to leave, go home and hadn't finished copying, so I could just do that again at home. Or change the grub menu, I just want to run that one or test. That's why I broke it up in those.
So this is making, the script is doing all this to copy stuff onto the USB device.
Oh, not just copy it, but you can install grub, format it, split it up properly, encrypt it,
Is there no way to build all that in one image and then just copy it to the USB device?
Oh, well, once it's there, you could do a DD to another one. It's one command. If you had 216 gig, you could just DD it across, and that would be an exact copy. But I want something that I could just, if there's a new update, I could just dump the ISO in. If I want to sort of tweak it, it actually is quite fast. It'd probably be faster than DD to do it this way. DD copies every sector, so everything could be even at 0. I learned a lot about grub anyway.
How much duplication will there be with each ISO? As you make,
What in the menu options?
well, no, just
The data.
the actual data. Like
Oh,
we've
right.
got 10 of them on there.
Yeah.
And
They're all
so
Debian based.
the Debian base of 50% of all of their sectors are the same as the next one. How would you go about using up a lot less space on the
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you can get 16 gig for $7 now. I'm just thinking, I just want something I can carry around. They're very cheap. I haven't looked into that prompt because they're so cheap.
Yeah.
So it'd be rather complicated to figure that out, I think. Interesting idea.
I think Keith asks, can you install from live sessions?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Okay.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Did you want to set up?
Yes. I'm going to set up and set it here. And let's give it a go.
Okay.
I will. Oh, also, Korea says hi. Apparently.
Oh, Korea's on there?
Yeah.
Great. Awesome.
I've never heard of Tails.
Hi, Korea.
Tails. Yeah, Tails is it's a Debian based privacy security. Yeah, so it's not for the security, it's for privacy. Yeah. Privacy focus. So everything, it's got all like encrypted chat, it's got anonymous, everything, VPN set up, you just go. And that's pretty neat.
Right, I need to.
USB on the side.
Yeah.
That's the same field.
Yes. Exactly.
Privacy focus, you still have to specify no auto logging. So by default,
maybe.
it automatically logs in, does it?
Yeah, maybe it does. I don't know.
That's not really privacy or anything.
I'll let you drive this. Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, where do you want?
There's a text file on there with my password, which I'm
Okay.
going to broadcast to YouTube.
Uh,
Maybe open the matrix password, not in the.
no. Look, just to make sure, we just like this for a second.
If I can get somebody to tap the.
How often?
Just tap the shutter thing once every 5 minutes.
No, okay. Which button?
Oh, that one.
Light, very lightly. Or
Yeah. Just
if I hit it too hard, is it going to be an issue?
Probably not.
Okay.
I'll figure it out. Right. Okay. Have any response?
Oh, okay.
There you go.
All right.
That turns the video on and off.
Oh, okay. So that would be enough.
Oh, that's all right.
Also, there are people that you can chat to if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Firefox. Escape. Highway. Smaller. Firefox. See a little look. Okay. So I have that. Matrix plus. Right.
No, so there's 6 people on there. Oh, yeah.
Chat.
Mm-hmm.
This is a private session. Ah, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What is this? That actually, that should.
What was it?
USB drive.
No.
That's me. Matrix. Oh. I think it's confused. It was big. Now it's small. How do you do that?
F11.
Oh, right. Okay.
We want to drag it to the right.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Do. What's the presenter thing?
I don't actually see.
Please no test.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah. Oh, yeah.
By the way. Is it okay if I allow?
Yeah. That's how it does it.
Do it again. So press S.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been really handy.
The way to remember is press question mark and it tells you what keys.
Yeah.
And then you look at the key.
Beautiful.
So it's that.
I'll do that next time.
X check.
Do my focus on you guys.
Are you? Okay. I'll just ask you in a second. I'll just ask you how to try text chat in a second with your account.
Oh, right.
Um,
I'm not logged in on XChat.
well, yeah,
Okay.
we'll figure it out.
All right, no worries. I'm fine. Like it.
Yeah, it has your nickname then. Right, so I'm going to make everybody sit there and wait for a minute while I grab a beer. I'm sorry.
Be back shortly.
That's a good idea.
Yes, I think that's everything. There's some talk about moving the camera closer, but I'm not sure whether that's actually going to work. I think the camera is just not ideal for this.
Yeah.
Also, there's a question about screen sharing.
Oh, right.
And that would be great, but
Jitsi
I
did it.
suspect that
Yeah.
will kill the current YouTube thing session, so I'll start to play around with that, the live session settings during the next. I will SCP. I don't think it's going to make much difference if I put the notes up on the web, but I'll SCP them when I come back to here.
Would you use the USB boot, do you think? Or?
Oh, probably not.
Yeah, you don't do much
Not really.
support on old computers? Or?
Not really. I'm really just sort of getting into this Linux stuff again.
Oh, yeah.
I've only just been toying around with it for a long time.
Hmm.
But now I'm writing software and I'm trying to get it to work on Linux. So
Oh, yeah.
I've got several machines that I'm trying to keep running.
Yeah.
It's all just a bunch of very
Yeah.
vanilla stuff at the moment. So I'll just stick with vanilla stuff until I get the software running. And then I'll start migrating most of what I do to Linux.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty much stuck in Windows.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
of the software I'm writing is Visual Studio. But most of it I'm doing development in Visual Studio.
.NET or
So
.NET?
it's all C++.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably why I've been quite successful in getting it onto Linux so quickly. Because it's fairly good for C++, which works quite well on Linux.
Would you use Visual Code because that runs on a Linux?
Yeah, I think I'll end up using it. At the moment,
It runs quite well under Linux.
Yeah, at the moment I'm still just actually developing within Visual Studio, and then I just copy the files across.
And you compile them on the Linux?
And the Linux box.
Yeah.
I've written a build system in JavaScript,
Oh, right.
which is really odd.
I'm a web programmer, so
Oh, okay. Well,
it's not odd to me. Yeah.
I discovered
forward,
in Node.js that I can launch a process.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, once I figured that bit out, it was like, okay, so in JavaScript, just figure out all commands for sending to GCC, then launch a GCC, compile it, and then I figured out how to do, because it's also function based, you can just sort of launch a lot of jobs at once, but then I had to figure out how to make a lock between them all, so that I ended up having only 8 concurrent processes running.
Oh, right, yeah.
In a functional programming language or JavaScript, that was a bit confusing for me, but I figured that out. So now I've got a simple web interface as my build system, and then I can, that'll compile across multiple projects. As many cores as I've got,
Cool.
and it all runs out of Node.js. So that's quite nice. And that code, I think, was like 2 lines. It's like 2,000 lines of JavaScript or whatever for the whole build system.
Yeah.
But it was only about 2 lines I had to change from running on Windows to running it on Linux. And it worked.
That's good, isn't it? Yeah.
That's quite nice with JavaScript. You don't have to do a lot of cross-platformy sort of stuff. It's all
It
just
takes care of it. Yeah.
kind of just works.
Beautiful. What are you creating?
I had some very simple video manipulation software.
Oh, right.
Used to be for live performance stuff years ago.
So is it streaming or is it transformation?
It was just playing videos and then in real time modifying visual effects out of the videos and manipulating videos and then sending that to multiple devices.
Right.
So
Cool.
This was like back in the I think 97 is when I started this project.
Yeah.
It's been going on.
Do you think you could do a better job than Jitsi? Or?
Don't even know what it is. Yeah. I mean,
It's supposed to stream videos.
Things have caught up quite a lot nowadays. I mean, I was doing this 10, 15 years ago.
Wow.
Where we didn't have all the resources we have now.
Yeah.
So it was all about just trying to get fast hard drives and is getting the video off the hard drive as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because it was a real-time performance.
Yeah.
So it was all about, being able to manipulate something and have the video as fast as you can get it.
Is this like music acts or
That's when, used to
backdrops to that sort of?
used to do stadiums and stuff.
Wow, cool. That'd be cool.
A couple of the big festivals have done.
Oh yeah.
Where we had the 100,000 people with
Oh yeah.
a massive video
Like big
screens.
day out
And,
or something.
yeah, that sort of
I think that.
that sort of stuff.
Wow.
I had video screens, and then my software is just doing all the video. And someone was sitting back in the tent playing around with real-time effects and the
Nice.
real-time effects stuff. So it was,
Cool.
I was rather impressed when that all came together. Fun.
Nice. Right.
But nowadays, just about any software does that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There's heaps of other programs doing it.
It's still good to understand how to do it, isn't it?
Oh, it's great fun.
Yeah.
It's a good technical challenge.
Hmm.
Trying to deal real time. As soon as you add real time to anything, there's a
Yeah.
whole new set of problems you got to think about.
Yeah. Could imagine.
Because you got every user wanting to do something different, and they all want everything at a key press.
Yeah.
So,
Low latency.
so like everything's low latency. So your system that actually does the video needs to be low latency and fast, but also the user interface needs to be adaptable and quick. And
Don't they have a special build of the Linux kernel for real time?
there is a real time setting in the kernel. I'm not quite sure what that's for.
Or you can change the scheduler. That's right. You
Yeah.
can you see which scheduler you want. One of those.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
The config time.
It's real time. What that really means is that it lowers the how long a time slice can be. So instead of having 10 millisecond time slices, you end up with much smaller ones before it gives it up to something else.
Takes the sleep
So-
down.
Yeah. So you basically you're doing a lot more context switching.
Yeah.
And then if you lost all your cache,
Yeah.
that's it. Your program runs really slow because it's all about caching.
But you want lots of CPUs then too.
Well, you want lots of CPUs, yeah. You want lots of. You want to split your video up across as many CPUs as possible. But at the same time, if you split it up too far, you end up having to wait on too many other calls.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. That's what I mean by real time. It's a real challenge to try and manage having everything really dynamic, but at the same time, it's got to be not so dynamic. You just want it to process a big chunk of video,
Yeah. You need
And
that
and then get on to
configurability.
the next big chunk of video. So you've got these big chunks of things to do, but in between that, you want everything to be really, really fast and interactive for the user.
Ah,
So you've got a very, very fast interactive user interface trying to do a very long process background task.
Yeah.
But if you make it too much of a background task, then you're not getting good video performance.
wow. Wow.
That's a nightmare. It's all that managing sort of expectations in how the software runs and how users use it as well.
Wow.
Is my in the right spot? And,
You're
Very
perfect
focused.
spot there.
You're focused.
so the slide there should be a link up there. Unfortunately, a lot of it is going to be a live demo, so it might not be visible.
The font's a good size.
Let's dig in this.
Why is it look like this?
I don't know.
For a long time, we wanted to get Jitsi video, use Jitsi video as a means of connecting far-flung MLUG members. Maybe Bob will say this in the future. Hi, Bob. So there's a couple of different related technologies which seemed interesting to string together, or at least try to string together. Success was not absolute. The excellent. Okay, shows what I want to say. So the first part is Jitsi. Jitsi is sort of a broad umbrella of. I think the GitHub account has something like 60 or 70 repositories. There are all sorts of things from. They start out as a zip based real-time communication system. Now they've got video forwarding, and they're the part we wanted to use with Jitsi Meet, an open source JavaScript based real-time video conferencing system. So in industry, there are things like Zoom, which are used to do this. The software is around. This is an open source system. So it has neat features like it can interact to some degree with XMPP or Java, IRC, a few other different bits and pieces. It's got a very neat screen sharing system, which is amazing for doing presentations remotely to other people on the internet. As chat, video, audio. And last time we tried to do it, I used a lot of Bash and GStreamer to try to convert my SLR into a webcam. That was not amazing last time. It's a neat intellectual exercise. We're trying to pipe JPEGs off the live view of a SLR is not a great recipe for success. It does work to an extent. So I spent a very minimal amount on eBay and got the cheapest HDMI to USB video adapter I could. And now I pipe the video out from my SLR into my machine, and it comes out as a more or less standard webcam. Motion JPEG now, it's not the best quality, but it works. It works far better than the horrible Bash script I used last time. I hope the reports have been better than last time. So this is where I was going to do the demo on Jitsi on our hosted instance at DT Core. However, the people who were here earlier know that that didn't actually work. So it's unclear. What do we have an idea why? But probably bandwidth related. It was using an insane amount of bandwidth, something on the order of 6 megabits up per person. So it's unclear how that failed, but it did horribly.
It did.
Hence we're on YouTube now. So demo the first. Cool. So it's a neat system if you want to have like two people communicating ad hoc. You can give them a web link. And Jitsi, the company group, the guys who write the software have their own hosted version. You can just throw a URL at somebody, and two people can just talk with nothing but their browsers, which is great. It just doesn't seem to scale well for our purposes. We're probably using a wrong config or something. I don't know. To investigate more than half an hour before MLUG starts. So, second communication thing I wanted to talk about and string together was IRC, which I mentioned Jitsi can apparently interact with. So it's a centralized chat protocol from the late 80s. It's actually around when IRC broke news of the Berlin Wall falling or something.
Really?
So it's reasonably old, but it's still quite popular. Most big projects will have an IRC channel somewhere. So the idea of IRC is you have a server. The server has multiple different rooms that you can join. Each of those rooms has a certain number of users who can talk. You send more or less plain text at each other in a continuous stream. Some of the downsides are that it scales questionably well, I think, because it's a centralized system. I just remember a lot of early history of servers splitting in half and then recombining. And it doesn't have a lot of features like chat history. Historically, didn't have encryption. And you can mitigate some of those downsides through systems like bouncers, bots, and scripts. So like intermediate software, which will capture history for you and replay it. It's a little clunky, but you can get most of the features that you want in some capacity. But it's not really a amazing way of structuring a modern communication protocol, in my opinion. So now that I've said all the amazing things about it, let's join the MLUG IRC server channel. So like most systems, we have, like most free and open source software, we have a room on Freenode, probably the biggest IRC server at the moment, definitely. Probably died, I don't remember. It's massive.
So it would be, yeah. It's a default in a lot of.
Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Unfortunately for people on internet, I can't make this bigger. So we connect. It comes up on the other screen. Join this channel. Hang on.
Is there anything particular about Hex Chat that you?
It's visual and. Here we go. I'm digging. Can we? Yeah. Did you have a second option?
Well, yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But it's it does fail.
Right.
Same commands work. It's IRC.
Well, there's not a huge map to really do here. Map 7 is the current user, which is Michael, who had evolve status.
Yeah.
Okay. And he posted a message a while back telling people to move to the YouTube link from the failed GTX guide. We can type a simple message.
Andre.
It's an Andre.
Yeah.
Hi, Andre. You so the YouTube's. Okay. Andre certainly is. So it's fairly low tech. It's just text messages from the 80s. So I will put that back away. So we have a long-standing. Where am I?
Just alt tab the.
Yeah. We have a long-standing IRC channel. Like how
many people in
No, there's not many people in it, but
2 or
it
3 at my stones.
used to be MLUG, and then there's another MLUG overseas in America, or Canada, I think.
Yeah. Oh, Montreal. Or?
Montreal, yeah. They were quite happy to share with us,
Yeah.
but we also created our own MLUG-AU.
Yeah. I remember joining years ago and being confused that it was the wrong country.
Yeah.
But there's usually like 2 or 3 of us on there at one UK. These at the moment. Low traffic is what I call it.
Yeah.
But it works. It's like the cockroach of text chat. It'll survive everything else.
Yeah.
And I've had that wonderful demonstration. And let's see if I can find the right Firefox.
This is inside Firefox, is it?
This is inside.
That's inside Emacs.
Yeah.
Inside what?
Emacs.
Oh, Emacs.
Of course.
The wrong text editor. So kind of moving slightly more modern, there's a system called Jabber or XMPP, which I refuse to call it. So it was more modern, maybe 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. They decided they want to make a federated communication protocol on modern standards. So that means they have multiple servers around the place. The different servers can each talk to each other. So you have server-to-server communication, you have client-to-server communication. It being 15 years ago and modern, the data is XML. So it's sort of the last time I tried to implement it, it was a definitely streaming XML stream. Which is interesting. It works quite well. And Google had an implementation years ago. The Google chat system worked entirely off that. And you, early on in the piece, were able to hook up your own server to Google servers and communicate between different ecosystems. It was amazing until they abruptly killed it off. But I was using that at one point to talk to people, and it worked great. One of the things that kind of made it difficult to justify using it was there are lots of extensions. Like you have basic text channel, and then for any more features, there is an extension, and then there's another extension, another extension. So for audio video, there's an extension. For file transfer, there's an extension. For multi-user chat, there's another extension. It kind of fragmented the ecosystem a little bit. So there are certain features you could work with some people and others not. But on the whole, it worked pretty well. There's also a very exciting part of gateways where you had a piece of software that talked Java on one side and something else on the other. So some of the canonical ones were IRC or MSN in the era. So your Java server could pretend to be a user on an IRC network or an MSN network. So you, rather than run this one massive client that had everything in it, you talked Java to the one server, and the server talked to all the different services for you. It was great. And something that we kind of like currently in current systems. And another thing I had going for it was there was a stupid number of implementations of Java. There are half a dozen different viable servers from memory, and a dozen different clients, everything from Emacs-based stuff through to Shiny, GNOME, somethings. So it was imminently usable. However, nobody uses it these days to a great extent. I just haven't heard of anyone.
What's its downfall? Why?
I think
If you say it's superior to IRC,
well,
IRC still going and this one's not.
IRC is like there's a lot of I think a lot of it comes down to momentum. Like the same reason that people use Facebook or whatever else. I mean, everybody else is that. It's sort of the network effect. So that's like that combined with the extensions, like some of the features were there but not quite. Kind of made it a bit difficult. So if you just went to Facebook, then it all kind of worked for you, more or less. At least that's my opinion. So I can't demo that one because I don't have access to a server anymore.
Is it? Can you put your own server on?
I could. Yeah.
Right. Is that easy to do?
I did it, and I don't like server admin.
Right. Which server is it? What's it called?
I used eJavaD, so the Erlang Java daemon.
Right.
And there was another one whose name escapes me. They required an hour or two of looking at configs and just trying to figure out what was happening because I don't deal well with XML, but it all worked. You said it once and just forgot about it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. If you can get people to use it, then yeah, go nuts. And software's still probably there. Erlang system, the Erlang implementation, I think, I can't say this on the internet because somebody will tell me I'm wrong. But I think the Erlang implementation might underpin some other commercial systems. So I know one person who used it as an internal communications protocol for a different piece of software, the Erlang code. So it's reliable. WhatsApp, I think, is based on it as well. Lots of people use it. It's just not really. They cut out the server part, I think.
Oh.
So you can't talk anymore. So, but the new one that I've heard about is the one the one demo which I hope works. It's called Matrix. It's also a federated communication protocol, so you have multiple different servers talking to each other, and you talk to your own home server who relays your messages onto other people. It being actual modern, it's based on HTTP, REST protocols, and JSON payloads, which is entirely unexpected. It uses WebRTC apparently for some amount of communication. It has encryption using the same double ratchet protocol as Signal, I think. They have the same underlying technique. So all your data is encrypted at rest. In fact, on the server that I tested out, if you turn encryption on, you can never turn it back off again. So that's kind of neat. It retains the gateways. Retains the gateways idea of Java in the name of bridges. So a Matrix server can communicate to IRC and vice versa. You can talk to Java, you can talk to Slack and Discord and a few other different bits and pieces. Its downfall, the downside as I can see it now is that there are very few implementations. There's one viable server implementation that I know of, and there's one client that supports all the features. But the others are usable, but it's not particularly full featured. So I'm going to go to its website, riot.im/app, which is the one full featured client, which happens to be in the web browser. Let's see if I can find it. Somewhere in here. Dig in. Is that kind of visible-ish?
Oh.
It's
Too white. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something that's going to pick up on that. We'll have to sort out something with screen sharing and such for that.
It's got a dark mode or? One of those new modern dark modes. It used to be dark.
Settings.
Skins? Yeah. Is that themes or skins? Oh, theme.
Right.
On the right. Dark. There we go. Beautiful. I can see it now.
I was about to click on deactivate account.
Wow, great. Yeah.
Yep.
It's better.
It's not a high bar.
Too dark. Man, this is too dark. Yeah.
If you press there's a sort of magnifying plus button on the back of the camera, you might be able to zoom into the screen.
The plus on the.
On the left-hand side.
Oh, yeah.
The middle,
Yeah.
There's a plus and a minus.
Looks a bit like Discord.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Whoa.
All right. It's backwards. It's blurry. Okay.
It's blurry and backwards.
Yep.
You can try to.
It's back. It's flipped.
I think it's flipped on the other side.
Oh, okay.
I think.
All right.
Who knows?
That's good. Everybody says good. All right.
Right. So this is the client. So let's hide this because that's the secret bit. So there's an MLUG-AU room that I created some time ago.
Cool.
I forgot about. So there's me and Good Egg. I don't know who Good Egg is. If Good Egg is around, thumbs up. Thanks for coming. So it's just another sort of chat system. Hello.
Hello, Good Egg.
Hello. Good Egg. Yeah. We'll notify them, and you can
Send them a Reddit.
You can be obnoxious and have pictures which you can post.
Oh.
You can upload files, which I'm not going to do from Michael's computer.
Is there a limit on how big the files can be?
I don't know.
And what protocol does it move the files over?
HTTP something?
Just an upload.
I suspect it's a config on the server somewhere.
Doesn't palm it off to something else.
I honestly have no idea. The key point is you can put a file on there and somebody else can pick it up.
Right.
So if we wanted to put notes on during MLUG, you can just kind of drag and drop them on there. Pick them back up again.
That's cool.
There is apparently voice and there's video call.
Another one. We should just test them all out and just say file. One day, an open source version will work.
If somebody wants to test this at some point, give me a yell. We can do video calls.
It's WebRTC.
Surely it will work this time.
It should.
But the reason that I'm trying to string all of these things together is that the matrix.org server has the ability to talk to IRC channels. You can join them if you know the correct name, how they format the names of the channel. You can join an IRC server on Freenode from the matrix.org server. So if we look at MLUG-AU down here, Andre is there.
Hey.
And my caps are there. And because Matrix is taking care of all of this, it retains history. So I don't need to be logged in to get the information. Certain things obviously won't work, like stuff that doesn't translate to IRC, like video calls, probably won't do anything. But
So if you're not connected, it's still logging that channel.
What, running as a daemon or?
The way that it sounds is that they have an arrangement with Freenode where they get some backdoor data from them. And the reverse is possible, but you need the channel operator to okay it. You can bring in people from a Freenode IRC channel into the matrix. Into the matrix chat. So you can do it both ways. You can connect to IRC by matrix, and you can connect IRC to matrix, which is kind of neat.
That's cool.
So that explains why I was talking about IRC before. Another thing which I could never quite figure out after investigation was this concept called integrations. I'm not quite sure how it works. Come on, do it. Try again. Integrations. Integrations. Let's try the Medusa thing. Down. Back in. Right then. So Sorry if everyone's going to go blind. Yeah, okay, so it's going to play nice. It might be a security thing. Doesn't much like doing it on my system, but I've got a lot of JavaScript disabled. The integrations idea is that you can put small widgets into the chat, things like a Jitsi server. So you can host Jitsi videos inside of a Matrix channel. I don't know how they work, but I know that you can put a link in there that puts a video inside the Matrix.
So who hosts the data? Matrix type, or
Matrix kind of puts in a bit of HTML to palm off handling of that to Jitsi's servers. I could never get it to point to the GT core server, which apparently is possible, but I don't know how.
Maybe it's the self-certificates that I didn't like.
I just couldn't find the option. I suspect it's configuration somewhere. I think if you host your own server, it might work. I don't know, but it's worth having a look. There are integrations that connect you to Slack, connect to Discord, and a few other bits and pieces. So you can have the Dream Uber server that connects you to everything else this way.
Cool.
So that's pretty. I think that's pretty cool. That's back to.
you're relying on this centralized server.
But you can host your own. And so
But you're not going to get IRC integrations or anything on your own.
there's no reason that you can't install them on your own server. So it's just another package that you can install in conjunction. So it's another daemon that runs in parallel to the Matrix server and communicate. So you have another piece of software which talks to the Matrix server and also simultaneously talks to IRC, for example. So run that in the same system and give it appropriate credentials. That can do
So you're still logging into the IRC channel with your own credentials.
Yeah, I think so. It's a little unclear sometimes. But it depends on exactly what protocol it is. Yeah, so it's an interesting idea. This is probably not important, but that's the name of the channel for MLUG.
Oh.
A bit fuzzy.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's not the best ones for that, but you can see inside the room. So
Cool.
Yeah, so I think there are so many things to explore at some point. I'll post links to where all these things live to the mailing list. So anybody who's interested in joining the server and play around and say hello to the couple of regulars that we have. Build up a bit more of the community again.
Yeah, cool. Is that your own server, like the Matrix?
This is the public matrix.org server.
Is it easy to set up a Matrix server?
Apparently, it's a Python package. It doesn't look that hard. I didn't actually try myself.
Right.
So we could definitely run our own one if we wanted to.
Right, probably put it on the Jitsi server. With the hope of getting Jitsi working one day. I'm sure that's just a configuration.
Yeah.
Surely it can't be 5 megabits per second.
Surely. But it didn't look too complicated from what I saw.
Yeah.
But they seem to be in the process of rewriting parts of it into Go. The idea of increasing performance.
Right.
Because a massive server running Python is probably okay, but not amazing. But I don't know. I don't do much server stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it's public. I can send you the link and see what we can do.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure there'd be a Docker image somewhere.
Mm.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Python, I think, is very single-threaded. Isn't it? And that
Yeah, they
sort of way it does things.
They still have the global interpreter locked down.
Probably. Whereas Go, I think, is designed around the idea of lots and lots of threads,
Yeah, channels.
channels, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's part of the larger engineering effort, perhaps. I mean, it works currently. It's a good proof of concept. France chose it for its national official chat protocol.
Well, I don't know of a lot of technology from the France that's particularly good.
But it's pretty straightforward to use. And I like it because I can get history on IRC channels.
Yeah,
That's
a
ve-
cool feature.
That's very handy.
And it's transparent, so it doesn't add like another watch or something to a channel.
Can you screen share through it or something like that? I mean, it links to Jitsi, so I suppose you could use that for screen share. It's got some weird features there, like video and chat. And usually,
But if you've got a username in this system and you've got a username in IRC, if someone in IRC tries to notify you or tag you,
Yeah.
how does it resolve the different names?
Glad you asked.
Could there be conflicts in usernames?
So, what it does is add this open bracket and close bracket suffix to the username. So I go by DCRO typically on Freenode, but if I'm using the matrix, the matrix client, it throws that at the end of it. So it's really obvious that you're using the matrix. So there are a few people. If you got a large enough channel, there's a few people.
So it's fairly well known now.
I know about it because I saw it myself. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it's a thing people know about.
or it's just a protocol that people are doing. Or
Yeah.
does it do that automatically? Let's say
Yeah, it's forced.
you can't change it.
Not to my knowledge.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah. So I know it's a bit of fun to play with.
So are there many different clients for it? Or is-
I saw about 3 or 4.
yeah.
They're worth looking at. The web browser one is by far the best. It's by far the more full featured.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of others that look pretty alright. So I checked out Fractal, which is a known client today, and it works fine. It sends messages and receives messages. There's another one that his name escapes me that also looks fine. Most of them are like 80% of what you want. If you just want an IRC equivalent, it'll work fine. But the slightly more involved, like video or other similar complexity problems, encryption doesn't work in all of them. But there are enough clients that it's not going to disappear necessarily.
Yeah.
But the server implementations are more of the problem. There's only really one viable one at the moment, and there's a couple of others that are like early access, alpha, beta versions. So,
And the web interface would be pretty much the same on any platform.
sorry?
The web interface one's going to be the same on Windows as it would be on Linux.
Yeah. Looks the same to me anyway.
With the same features.
I would imagine so. Anyway, I like it. Give it a try.
Cool.
Did you try it on Chrome and Firefox? Or you-
Yes, I think it's running correct. I think I did. I think I did. I don't use Chrome on anything much these days. So,
It just doesn't mean you have Chrome then we back into a lot of other browsers. If it
No,
works on that, there's a good chance it's still working on a lot of other things.
yeah,
including MS Edge.
Mm,
Now,
I haven't touched it. I refuse to.
it would shock me if it didn't work.
cool. Thanks, Danny.
Um, I'll upload the links to the mailing list soon.
Yeah.
I'll get them on Michael.
He said thanks.
Okay.
Andy just said thanks.
um,
Matrix.org.
yeah.
Start.
So if you want to get it, so the site I go to actually use it is so.
Yeah, that one.
Where's IN? Is that country code?
I imagine so. Couldn't tell you what country.
Yeah.
The video reports were it's pretty solid. The fuzziness went away in the caravan, and yeah, good job, guys, from Keith and Gary and Mandra and everybody.
We'll have to try again with screen sharing turned on or something.
Yeah,
There's got to be a way of getting people to join the live stream and share their video as well.
yeah, like Jitsi, but yeah.
Sure, there's got to be a thing.
I feel like it's a configuration of Jitsi that you could work. Yeah,
We have two options now. If Jitsi fails again, we can keep coming back to this.
yeah.
If it's interesting to people.
The modified CD drive as well, and then put the PC there.
I
think.
I was actually going to use a USB cable and script it with another maintenance bash to do auto focusing and other things. I figured that might keep it alive.
Can you save the YouTube? People are asking.
My understanding is that it's there permanently unless I delete it.
Oh, okay.
I might go back in and like cut parts of it, like the half hour of black at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
But it should still be out there. It might be worthwhile if this is a thing that people want to do, making an MLUG talent.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than make it under me.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to look at my videos. It's just Overwatch family stuff.
I had a MLUG channel for when we tried YouTube streaming last time. So I don't know if I have to add you to that or something.
It seems like a thing that shouldn't be too hard.
Right.
Or just to, yeah. It seems like a thing we can do.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. Standard pace. Was facing.
I think we were complaining about the number of noisy dishes.
Yeah, my mate from Korea was saying that the construction outside is a little distracting. But I mean, that's a spectacularly shitty microphone to be doing it with. It's inside the.
Wow.
I think that's the one, or it's from the laptop facing the wrong direction.
Well, people are still picking this up. Yeah, so
Yeah, it's a thing that we can improve. We can
make it better.
We can do nothing but improve.
Got to start somewhere. Well, I'm going to do a video and then I'll talk to you about the website.
Yes, I was going to say something, but yeah, we'll do that on the website. I will close the videos. Goodbye, internets. I'll leave the chat on, but we might turn the video off. It was good fun.
Yeah.